Greetings and welcome to the Contracting Guy. I am the Contracting Guy. And two things. Got to start off with. This week, the most important day is going to occur this week. You got it. It's opening day of the Toledo Mud Hens that will occur this week. So I look forward to going to the first game of the Mud Hens, or at least the first home game. The second thing is actually, I'm not selling this, but I just finished some kimchi. That's pretty good stuff. You know, I'm just in case you're thinking about it, low calorie, pretty tasty. I'm not selling it, but I kind of enjoy it. So now that you have those two things out of the way, today I want to talk about something that came up at the AppTech conference by some folks in a session I was in, and it was about buyers. Actually, kind of discerning who buyers are. Well, let's kind of reflect on that for a moment. So, I go to the store, and at the behest of my wife, and she says, "I want you to buy, 1% milk, whatever." I go, "Okay." So I go to the store and buy 1% milk. Now, the question is that, am I the buyer or am I the buyer? Now, granted, I did spend the money. I did cause the occurrence to happen of exchange money for goods, but am I really what would be considered the buyer? Well, in some respects, yeah, I am, because I did that act. That was mine. But more importantly, am I really the one who wanted it? Now, I think that's where you get into the question of going a buyer and a end user. Is it the end user that wants the product or needs the product? The buyer may, in fact, only be the tool used to acquire the product. A contracting officer is oftentimes considered a buyer, and that's pretty accurate from one definition. If you use another definition, is the buyer really the one who makes the suggestion as to what to get? Now, contracting officers will make choices and use evaluation factors and set up requirements, but those things come from someone else. They're just not pulled out of the air. They're not pulled out. What happens is that the contracting officer uses information that comes from an end user, oftentimes a program manager, or some organization that requires an item or a service, and takes those and puts them in a format which they can then process. Which makes going to like a meet the buyer event really kind of strange, because when you talk to meeting the buyer, meaning a contracting officer, they're not the ones who actually use the product that you're selling. All they do is they're the ones who buy it. And frankly, when you go to them at those events and they are not buying that exact item at that time, right then, they'll pretty much tell you to send me your capability statement, and then they'll write in the sand. It's not going to happen. So you need to know the people who are truly requiring things. The requiring things people would be end users. They would be program managers. Those would be people who actually are the final beneficiaries of the services or goods that you provide. So if you were selling pencils to the government, the contracting officer might get the pencils or get them from you, but he's not going to use all your pencils. He might not use any of your pencils. What he will be doing is sending those pencils to someone who actually requires them. So why is this important? Well, it's important to understand the distinction between a contracting officer and what they can do and their limitations, and an end user, what they can do and the possibilities that are there. The possibilities with an end user is immense, given the fact that they're the ones who actually need what you offer. Contracting officers only get what they're presented. I need a pencil, I'll buy you a pencil. I need milk, I'll buy you milk. I need housekeeping, I'll buy housekeeping. Where the benefit comes from PTAX drilling down to their clients is that maybe we can figure out who can do this kind of stuff to fill the government need. So when it does finally get to a contracting person, they'll have sources. That's an important thing. So it's important, and I'll talk a little bit more about this because it needs further fleshing out, but recognize that at Meet the Buyer events, use of a contracting officer is very invaluable, meaning not valuable, as opposed to, wow, it's invaluable. It means you need to talk to someone who actually needs things, not somebody who buys things. I buy things, but I don't necessarily need them. My wife wants something, I buy it. Does that mean I use it? No, I mean, I buy it. That's how this works. You need to find out who is needing this so that you can fill their need. And when it comes time to fill that need, you'll have a choice. You can then present to the contracting officer or those procurement people, say, I need this, and here's a source where you can buy that. And they go, oh, that's wonderful. You've done market research. And really, that's the ascent. When you start looking at market research, one of the elements of market research is to see who, in fact, has that product or who has the services that can meet the need. Contracting officers, all they will do is evaluate that to make sure there's no ethical violations, and make sure it meets all the requirements of the Federal Acquisition Regulation or any other guidance that they have. But that's the value it brings. It's market research. So you need to know who the user is, the ultimate final user is. Now, cautionary tale here, caution, is that, for example, if I'm buying ammunition for stock, maybe that's a poor choice. Let's say I'm buying hospital gowns. Well, the end user might be a doctor using the gowns. I'm usually filling stock. So knowing, who's requiring stock, that's going to be important. The contracting officer is never the person who is requiring it. It is someone else who is requiring it. And that's the distinction I want you to walk away with. No buyer actually uses this stuff, at least in the federal government. Contracting people don't buy things that they're going to use. They buy things that other people will use. Take that away. So if you know that, then you're a little bit smarter cookie today. This is the Contracting Guy. I'm out. Contracting Guy here. Thank you for watching the video, and thank you for being part of the Contracting Guy family. If you would, support the channel by like, subscribe, and share with others. That would be wonderful. This is the Contracting Guy. I'm out.